Some stories don't start with screaming, some begin with silence, the kind that follows you home at night. In our village, we don't fear spirits, we fear the living ones, those who walk quietly in the dark, wearing white coats and smiling at shadows. I worked at the clinic, I saw her, and I'm telling you now, Sister Agbo was not alone on those night shifts. If you're new here, subscribe for more true stories from the corners of our African villages, where the line between the living and the dead is thinner than you think. My name is Musa. I was the night security man at Ogono Health Center for 5 years. I wore a brown uniform, carried a wooden stick, and kept watch while the nurses did their work. People think night shift is quiet. They don't know what the wolves see after 1 a.m. But let me talk about Sister Agbo. She was our night nurse, never late, never rude, always with that white nurse's cap neatly pinned to her head. You could set your clock by her movements. At 9 p.m., she'd arrive with her little metal food flask. At 9:15, she'd sweep the ward floor even if it was already clean. At 10, she'd check each patient twice, write her notes, and say, "God is with us tonight." Everybody loved her, but there were things I noticed, like how she always left an extra hospital bed empty in Ward B. Even when the place was crowded, she'd say, "Leave that one. Someone is coming." At first, I thought she meant a real patient, maybe someone on the way from a village with poor roads. But no ambulance ever came, no footsteps. Yet by morning, that bed would be slightly wrinkled. The fourth stand would have been used, and once, I swear by my mother's grave, I saw water in the drinking cup, full, like someone had just sipped it. Still, I kept my mouth shut until that Friday. That night, rain beat down hard. The roof over the maternity block was leaking again, and I was on patrol when I saw something strange. From the far end of the corridor, I saw Sister Agbo speaking to someone, but I couldn't see who. Just a voice, low and soft, like she was comforting a sick child. Then she reached forward, as if to take something from the air. I stepped closer, but as soon as I reached the doorway, she turned and smiled. "Just checking vitals," she said. But the other beds were empty, and then she said something that chilled me. "He asked for warm water. I think he's feeling cold." I didn't ask who he was. I couldn't. I simply nodded, backed away, and left the room. The next few nights I started hearing things, breathing, light footsteps, a tapping fourth pole. But when I'd shine my torch into Ward B, there'd be nothing. Just that same empty bed with the blanket folded as usual. One night, the power cut. Generator had failed. I rushed in with my lantern expecting panic, but the ward was calm, too calm. I saw Sister Agbo sitting at the foot of that empty bed, humming an old Igbo lullaby I hadn't heard in years. Then she looked at me and whispered, "He's the last one. After him, I can rest." Rest from what? I didn't ask, but I told the doctor the next morning. Dr. Chima shrugged, said maybe she was stressed. "Let her take leave," he said. "She hasn't asked for one in 3 years." But when he called her into his office, she simply said, "I'm almost done." 1 week later, she was found sitting beside that same bed, not asleep, not dead, but somewhere in between. Her eyes were open, her mouth slightly parted. She was breathing, barely, but she didn't respond to touch or sound, just sat there, like she was still watching over someone we couldn't see. The clinic moved her to the city hospital. Some say she's still there, same position, still waiting for the last patient to be discharged. And the bed, we burned it, right there in the compound. Because one of the new nurses who tried to lie down on it during her night break woke up screaming. Sad, she dreamt of a man with no face, dripping with blood, asking, "Is it my turn now?" Till today, nobody knows who the last patient was, or if he ever left. But in our village, when someone dies quietly in the hospital at night, people still ask, "Was it Ward B?" And if the answer is yes, nobody sleeps well. If you believe some people are chosen to carry other people's burdens even after death, then you'll understand Sister Agbo. Don't forget to subscribe for more true village stories. These aren't just tales, these are warnings.